Yeah, I was in this big amphitheater, and all of the seats were filled with me, just different versions of me throughout my life. Younger versions, teenage versions, adult versions, young adult versions, just every conceivable version of Derek was there in attendance. And they were a little bit confused because it was like, wait a second, I was just actually doing stuff. Why am I here now? And it was like, no, you're here now because that time that you were just at, that thing you were just doing, it was actually part of a karmic loop that I've been trying to heal. So you don't realize this at the moment, but you were living Groundhog's Day over and over again on the worst day of your life because you didn't have the insight that I have now, that I literally am getting as I'm writing this. So welcome to the new toxic order. And it just kind of, as I kept on going with this, I could just feel like all these pops, all of these like connections being made, going boom, 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 boom. Holy shit. Yeah. It's kind of like I'm listening to Darth Plagueis, Star Wars, Darth Plagueis, and there's a scene in the book where Darth Sidious is kidnapped and being taken to a remote location so that he can be assassinated. And while he's sitting in the back of this car, he hears a voice in his head that says, "You have nothing to worry about. Everything's going to be fine." Because, of course, the bad guys laid out their plans for him. Overconfident dogs. And as he's thinking about it, he comes to the realization that the dark side's talking to me. The dark side wants me to know that I'm protected because what I'm doing is that important. And as he has this revelation, he starts to have these like little mini flashbacks about times in his life where that voice spoke to him with that same message. You're gonna be safe, everything's fine. You have its power passed on to you when you opened it. Some of it. Which is a revelation that I've had myself, which is like, I've heard that voice. I think everybody hears that voice. I could be wrong. I mean, I think everybody hears it. It's not so much a matter of like who does or doesn't hear it. It's more of a matter of who actually listens to it. And who trusts it? I trust mine. I mean, my mind's the same one that tells me to do this. It's like I'm not Christian by any stretch of the imagination. I'd say I'm more of a spiritual atheist with leanings towards the religion of the Antichrist. But I think that's the proper way to go about it. The Christian ideology is an antiquated technology that it served its purpose. It's just it doesn't hold the same relevance that it once did. So, not that the teachings are outdated, because there's always something to learn from the past, but it's time to evolve. It's time to branch out, stretch out a little bit. A realization I had last night at some point was how a relationship with God is denying you a healthy relationship with Satan. And how God's behavior towards Satan is exactly what the church says about Satan's relationship to God. Satan's job is to take you away from having a relationship with God, but at the same time, God's job is to take you away from having a relationship with Satan. So like they're doing the same thing, which is why I see Satan as God, the entity known as God. I'm not saying his name is Satan either. It's a title, kind of like Christ, but that's a little bit of a brain fuck. How you doing, man? It's not gonna resonate with everyone. I know that, but well, maybe not at first. Not at first, because all it really requires is just like a re-education. People having to go into re-education camps to kind of deprogram themselves, and I don't know. I think it would probably shatter the matrix for everything that it is. But so, like, I'm thinking about in the matrix. How they're like, oh, you can't free a mind that's so ingrained in the system because you'll break it. But I kind of, at the standpoint, I'm kind of from the place where it's like, all right, you got to break some eggs to make an omelet. But from what I've gathered over the course of my time following the spiritual awakening movement, which I think is a lot of hogwash going on too, because a lot of people getting pulled down paths that it doesn't seem like everything's kosher, to me at least. A lot of exploitation of people's ignorance. Instead of educating people, it's more propagating people's ignorance and greed. I'm a believer that people that perpetrate themselves as light workers and star seeds, I think they're actually the bad guys. But bad is subjective. I'm sure some would say that they're conducting the will of the universe, but that's a whole other thing. I don't like to speak for people. Actually reminds me of some shit I gotta get done. Well, I work with both sides. You gotta balance them out. You can't have an overabundance of one and not the other. Which kind of sucks, because I hate going on the light side because it's all mushy-gushy. But that's not a bad thing. It's like Final Fantasy. It's like mastering black and white magic equally. Which then makes red magic, but that's a whole Final Fantasy thing. I don't know. How am I feeling compared to yesterday? Better? I don't feel so like, drained like I did. I mean, I'm not 100%. And mind you, last night, that experience I had last night really, like, required me to dial up my energetic mental outputs, which was not unfavorable. Oh, fuck it. We don't have to do this for people here. It's alright. You can watch if you want. feel better. I haven't done that in a while. That's my workout. I don't like to overdo it. Why push it? I mean, it's not easy. What time we got? 13 minutes? All right, maybe we'll go to our little date spot and then what's this? Yeah, so what else we got to do today? Today we got to finish the Gemini sequence. Which hasn't been easy. I mean, you gotta consider it like, do you want to read your old journals from 5 years ago? Not everyone's gonna say yes to that one. But it's good. The idea behind it, I mean, aside from dialing on aspects of my inner Gemini, common misconception with astrology is that you're only your sun sign. Nah, that's not even the most important sign. That's not even the most important aspect. There are components of the chart that's more important, but the idea is to look at the wheel itself as the totality of, or I don't want to say totality because there's more to it. Because there's more constellations than just the ones on the ecliptic. But those are more like the 12 signs on the ecliptic, well, 13. Signs on the ecliptic are, well, we'll say 12. The first 12 are kind of like the gateway drug, so that you can learn how to communicate with them. But then eventually, depending on your path, if you unlock the 13th, that one leads you outside of the ecliptic to the other 88. And each one of them has a something, have a piece to the puzzle. So by going through my journals, through the filters of a specific sign, what it's doing is helped me tap into those components of the psyche that exist traditionally outside of the perception, outside of human perception. Not that they're not happening. They're there. They're always there. They're always functioning to one degree or another. It's just, are they functioning to their highest and greatest good? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes they're just naturally turned on and on fire, but at the same time, if you're not consciously aware of them, there's a possibility that they're not functioning right. I'm saying you, but I mean me. This is how I understand it. Like if I were teaching astrology, this is how I would be teaching it. Because it's not about making, I don't want to say it's not about making predictions. You can. But the idea is not to I don't want to say that either. I mean, it can be exploited. And you can make accurate predictions depending on your degree of openness to it. Like, for instance, on June 15th, I believe that the potential for me to be in the position to actually be working side by side with my partner, my future partner, with the person who has the potential to be my divine partner, will present itself. I believe that. And the reason I say that is because there's a specific configuration in the astrology of that time that would demonstrate to me why that would make sense. Now, granted, divine partners, think about like twin flame relationships. People say, your twin flame is you. You have to find it within yourself. It's not about finding it in another person. Which is why most people don't believe in it. Or most people will argue it. I hate that word. Yeah, because nobody's gonna love you until you can love yourself. But everybody has a part of themselves that they love. And it's about nurturing that part over all the other parts. What part of yourself do you love the most? Alright, start focusing all the energy that you put in all the shit that you don't want, start putting on that one. And a good way to determine when a good time to do that is with astrology, because it literally does lay out the map of your world, of your reality. It shows you also kind of like the times of year that it's best to do certain things. Now, a master, I cannot say that I am. There are people that I learn from, that I'm still learning from, that can do amazing things. And they understand it in a way that blows my fucking mind. But at the same time, that's a good idea, as a matter of fact. That's not a bad idea. You should probably do that, now that I'm thinking about it. But my specialty isn't doing astrology for other people. I'm learning. I have a friend whose chart that I study and practice. I practice informing her of things that are going on. Whether or not it all sinks in, I don't know. But I'd like to believe that over the next couple weeks I'll find out. I could be wrong. But I don't think I'm entirely wrong, because I think what my mission is right now, because right now the sun is in my 10th house in Gemini. So basically, over the next 28 degrees of Gemini, what's being called upon me to focus on are my Gemini aspects. What's Gemini? Gemini's the twins, Castor and Pollux. Castor was the son of the king of Sparta, and his twin brother his parasitic twin brother, Pollux, was the son of Zeus. When Castor died, Pollux petitioned to Zeus to share his immortality with his brother so that they can be together forever. And Zeus granted the petition and put them into the stars, which is where the constellation of Gemini comes from. It's a pretty dope fucking story. But the way we could break that down, because this concept of Gemini twins, of immortal and mortal twins, isn't just isolated to the Greeks. The Jews have it too. Well, not just the Jews, although the Jews would be more familiar with this concept, or anybody who has taken the time to delve into Kabbalah. But in the science of Kabbalah, the highest point of consciousness is governed by the archangel Metatron. Metatron's like the highest archangel below God. Sometimes considered the mouth of God, because he's the one who relays God's messages. Because God doesn't have time for all this shit. God's got too much shit to do. And in a sense, you could say that Metatron is kind of like he who sits on high. But he's got a twin brother named Sandalphon, who governs over the material universe, where Metatron is the spiritual, energetic, immortal twin. Sandalphon is the physical counterpart. As far as if I remember correctly, he's the only archangel that's actually comes in physical form. Acts as like a vessel. Imagine it like this: Sandalphon and Castor. That body is just a physical vessel that godlike consciousness exists within. You ever see Stargate? You know, the alien kind of like puts its consciousness in the mind, into the body of the slave boy. It's basically like that. I'm sorry, that's exactly what it's like. I've been working with Egyptian gods for the past month and a half. And I recently made acquaintance with the Egyptian serpent god named Mehen. And Mehen's duty, his name means he who is coiled. And Mehen's duty, his job, is to coil itself around the vessel of Ra. The solar vessel of Ra. Because, of course, the only vessel suitable to carry Ra's spirit would be a Leo. A solar vessel. Because Leo's the only sign that's ruled by the sun. Which means that we're more special than everybody else. Everybody plays a role, but I get to wear a crown. I mean, of course, I believe those entities. Of course, those entities exist. If they didn't, we wouldn't know about them. Now, mind you, Mehen, Ra, there's just names that we attribute. But at the same token, like, they're there. They may not refer to themselves as that name. They may not even refer to themselves as name. They just might be concepts, ideas, forces of nature that just exist to maintain some kind of balance. I mean, these are also different times we're talking about. We didn't have all... then again, I don't know. I was wondering about that this morning. If the way things are right now are any different from the way that they were all the way back then. I'm hungry. What time is it? Probably 12:30. That's what. I kind of want to wrap this up, but because I'm hungry. That's why. There's a new sandwich place. Like, you know what? Actually, it'll take me like, fuck it. Let's do this like 10 minutes here. Oh, there was that other thing last night too. Now, my world's a little bit different from other people's because as I've been seeing from journeying through my own journals, is how I just don't... I can't subscribe to the programming. So it's incumbent upon me to break myself free of the matrix. Because there's more to life than just what we're sold. I mean, there's... What... Once I really started to explore... Once I really started to explore the occult, which led me into studying high magic, which eventually led to me studying witchcraft. What's called high magic, at least. It like really opened my eyes to not just things I didn't know, because that's a whole other thing. It's just like taking things off, just blind faith into something. But this is more like the more I learned about, especially like metaphysics, is how I had already been thinking a lot of these things prior to seeing that there was actually schools of thought based around this. And it just got me thinking, like, if there were civilizations in the past that were founded on the principles that I have been thinking my entire life, and I'm just learning about this now, I think I have to follow through and just continue down this path and see where it leads. Because, hey, the book told me there's no such thing as coincidences. And the book said that it finds who it needs to find when they're ready to hear it. And considering I know exactly everything that it's saying, then I guess I'm ready. And of course, I mean, that as a form of doublethink, though, that's where doublethink starts to come into play, because a lot of the metaphysical principles kind of rely on breaking free of old thought patterns, old beliefs that just don't resonate. I mean, I don't know about nobody else, but I know that ever since I was a kid, just like always felt wrong. Something always felt wrong. And in the sense that I remember even being like 9 years old, just thinking like, this can't be it. Something just doesn't feel right about this. And for the longest time, I used to have these little delusional fantasies as a kid of finding out that I was really a witch. I had some kind of magical powers, and that I was descended from gods. And the more that I delved into these things, the more I started to realize, yeah, that's not wrong. But now something to consider too is like, I'm more attuned to the dark side. It just resonates with me more. I can appreciate suffering. But when you look further into certain histories of the world, like there was a difference between gods and non-gods. So for instance, the Greek pantheon, right? And the gods of the Greeks. Hades wasn't a god. Hades wasn't considered a god because he didn't have a seat in Olympus. His domain was the underworld. So for all intents and purposes, he wasn't a god. If you look at Odin and his hierarchy of gods, they weren't even gods. They were a different race. They were just a different race of entities. They're called gods because they had godlike abilities, but gods they were not. They actually went to war with another group of gods that also weren't gods. They were just non-human entities. Now humans are their own little thing. Humans are just like, they're kind of like, how would you explain humans? Humans are more like ants in an ant farm. They're just there for observational purposes. Well, yeah, I mean, that was another thing that just popped in my head. It's like these beings called gods, they're all extraterrestrial. All of them, none of them actually originate on Earth. But that's not going to fly with everybody. Where's your evidence? I don't know, ask them. Nothing on Earth is terrestrial based. I mean, even Earth itself is made of extraterrestrial material. I mean, everything that all the materials that went into making your phone or your device, whatever, or even like the trees, that doesn't really come from Earth. Spoiler. It's all stardust. But even stardust thinks and reconfigures itself. Ugh, God. Alright, I'm fucking tired. Still looking for a job. Good. At least you haven't given up on yourself. Oh, God. Like, I'm really tired. But you don't think it's from the smoking? No. No, I attribute it to the fact that like I've been pumping out so much over the last couple weeks that it's just like it's starting to catch up now. And that, I haven't done that in like a week. My body's still a little like, my body's still gotta wake up. So I don't come from the school that energy is limited. I think it's unlimited. I mean, that doesn't mean that to say that you can't believe that it's not unlimited, but it does seem to have a way of revealing itself that way. Hold on, can I please sit, please? Oh, God. What's on today's agenda? After this, we're gonna go grab a sandwich. Go home, take my first dose, and then fucking get to work. I got 2 more journals I gotta go through before I can say that I successfully completed the Gemini sequence, but it'll put me halfway through the Zodiac. So I'll only have 6 more sequences to do. And considering it's only taken me, I started on March 3rd. So what is that, 2.5 months? Almost 3 months? I'm okay with that. I mean, I had a lot of stuff that was going on in between, so I know why I got backed up. Especially over the last month, but face motherfucker. Now I had to, I was thinking last night, after I had all my revelations, I was thinking about my victory over Hugo Boss, because I got paid my withheld pay last week, which was good, but it was short about close to $2,300 after tax. So my last email to the compliance department, which was about like 2 weeks ago, I had noted several points that I needed addressed, and only one of them was taken care of. So at the time, I had included the company's third-party lawyer on the email chain, and hair thinning. I hate that. It used to be here. But I had to, I spelled the guy's name wrong. But what I noticed was, what I decided was, all right, let's just see what happens. Let me see if this works. And hey, 2 weeks later, yeah, I finally got the money that was being withheld from me. Well, some of it. So last night I was kind of on this power trip, and like I'm not one for like bullying people or pushing, but I'm not looking at this as me bullying the people as much as the company itself is, and go, no, this isn't gonna stand. You're not gonna get away with this. Sorry, like, nigga, you owe me money and you're gonna pay. And at this point, it's not so much about the money. I mean, trust me, I can use it. But it's the principle, man. It's the fucking principle. Don't be fucking with the goddamn Sith Lord. No such thing as halfway crooks. Now what I'm thinking about is like, I have an account. I have a subscription to Impact Theory University with Tom Bilyeu. And I'm thinking, like, my next payment is coming up soon, and I'm wondering if I should cancel the subscription. But there's these 2 courses that I'm, like, trying to get through that I've been neglecting. And I'm wondering if I should just blast right through them. This way I can at least absorb the information. Because I'm thinking, I just canceled the subscription I had with this this girl that I've been learning astrology from, Tony Michelle. And there's a couple areas where I feel like I should redirect that money to. There's another astrologer I work with, Raquel Spring, and she's really fucking amazing. She's amazing. But the way I see it is that just by engaging with the, I guess you say, teachings of people, like, you absorb more than just what they're saying. You absorb what you need to absorb. I absorb what I need to absorb. So I feel like just even like participating in their programs is giving me more than what they may have originally intended, because it's like, I don't want to memorize what it is that they're saying as much as reverse engineer it. I guess that's a better way of putting it. Like, reverse engineering it so that I can find a way to practically apply the principles and concepts that they're sharing in a way that works for me and what I do. Like, there's things I want to know that I feel like I need to know. There's things I want to learn that... What's up? What's up? Oh, hello. Nah, I thought it was a joint. I think it was. It was just not the kind of joint I was looking for. As in, I don't believe there was any weed left in it. Well, no, there wasn't any weed left in it, which is why I opened it up to check. I came out here once and there was a joint out here. Eating gummies is not the same as eating a gummy is not the same as smoking a joint. These are facts. Why is it so dark? There we go. But what is it? Fucking Wednesday. I don't feel as doomy and gloomy as I did yesterday. I feel much better. Especially after last night. It was just like hit after hit after hit. Then this morning, my lady friend helped me out, and she sent me some pictures of my old journal that I need for this project. So it's like, I feel like I got a lot accomplished. No, I think these next couple months are going to be pretty cool. Hey. Alright, 52 minutes. Well, we can start walking now. I mean, it's going to take another 15 minutes to get the fuck over there. What happened? Oh. What kind of sandwich am I going to get? I have no idea. I've never been to this place before. I'm not even sure what the hell kind of sandwiches this place makes. Not even sure if they make sandwiches. All I know is that last year there used to be a pickle sandwich place. Yo. You ain't never had a pickle sandwich? There's no bread. The bread is replaced by pickles. By a pickle. It's cut in half, and then all the meats and all the good shit is thrown in on the pickle, and you eat that motherfucker like a goddamn sandwich. It's fucking genius. It's delicious. The one I used to get was called a vampire killer. It's like pastrami, spicy Cheetos, and these like roasted garlic cloves that were thrown on top with this spicy mayo. Oh my god. Yeah, so I guess today we're gonna go back, eat, chomp down a gummy, maybe listen to Darth Plagueis a little bit more because where it's at is actually like really insightful. Then I have to decide how I'm gonna do this because I have Prince Harry's book on queue. I started reading it, or I started listening to it last week, but I only listened to like 10 minutes. I want to get into the mind of a prince. I did the same thing with Obama. I listened to his book. Well, not all of it. It was long. The fucking thing's like 24 hours if you listen to it on regular speed. That's a 12-hour sitting right there. I mean, sometimes I have blown through like 7 and 9 hour books in one sitting on 2 times speed. But you gotta understand, like, why would you do that? Because you gotta take into account the principle of octaves. So in music theory, there's 7 notes. And then those notes can be turned up an octave, or down an octave, or up several octaves. But every octave is basically, like you have the A note, and then the next octave up from A is the same note, but it's played at twice the speed. So it's the same exact sound, it's just sped up by a factor of 2. So you're getting the same energy, just at a faster interval. And the same thing goes with audiobooks. So that was an experiment I did. Was, all right, let me see if I can get the same amount of information, because it was something a friend actually taught me. It's just like when you watch long YouTube videos, just put it on 2 times speed, because you're getting the same information. It's just you're having to process it a little bit faster, or at least getting like how did I put it? Hey. It's kind of like speed reading. You're taking in, say, an hour's worth of content in 30 minutes. So I applied the same principle to Audible, which has an option. You can crank up the speed. You can go up to like 3 times. But I've tried 3 times speed. That's too much. You can't even. I mean, I'm sure. I would guarantee that it would just require a little bit of mental training to be able to keep up with that kind of speed. I have attempted books at like 2.5, which is a lot. But at the same time, 3 times doesn't make sense. Like I don't think that would work. Like if I could crank it up to 4, okay, that I might be able to, because that's a second octave. As far as I know, I could be wrong, but I don't believe octaves come in half octaves. So, but like I said, I have experimented with listening to books on 3 times speed, but you can't. It's just. I mean, you can kind of keep up with it, but by the time you can process what you just heard, you're already like well past that. It's all this catching. It's just see, because what I like to do is I like to meditate when I listen to these things, and just close my eyes and let my mind paint pictures and bring images up and bring feelings up. And put myself in those positions. Because what happens is because now that I'm not having to read it, I'm not actually supposed, now I don't have to kind of devote energy to my eyes. I can redirect that. I can redirect that kinetic energy to do something else, which is paint a mental image instead. And I mean, at the same time, I'm also trained in divination, so in its purest form, like you can divine from anything. You don't need to be using specifically like tarot cards or oracle cards. Like you can divine information just literally from anything, which comes in handy, especially when reading books. Because the idea is basically to tap into aspects of yourself that kind of just sit dormant. I mean, every story, I mean, be it fiction or non-fiction, is the product of the subconscious and unconscious mind, unconscious aspects of the person writing it. So, beneath the surface, what you're tapping into is the very core of this person. That's why I like autobiographies read by the authors, because it's like you're like syncing up with that person, that soul, that energy. But it's not everyone's cup of tea, man. That's a little bit much for some people to handle. I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't. And it's not that. It's not that I don't like reading. I love reading. It's just if we can do it a little bit more efficiently. Because when reading it manually, it's like you gotta multitask. But by listening to a book, you're cutting out one of the extra steps that realistically don't need to be there. So it's just a matter of streamlining. Yeah, it's just a matter of streamlining the process. This way you can get the most out of your time. I mean, sometimes it's a lot, though. I remember there was a couple books. There was one, which is Book of Power. I sat through that. It was like 3.5, 4 hours. One session, one sitting. Boom. By the time it was done, my brain felt like it was gonna fucking pop. We're almost there. This should run out right as I'm walking up. Yeah, I just walk the highway. Oh, right, so this place is... The pickle place closed down, so... Now this is a new place. I want to see what it's about. Oh, God, I'm fucking tired. Yeah, but that's about the day. I mean, I'm sure I'll probably find some kind of inspiration to fucking come back and record more today, which is good. This is kind of what I need to be working on for the next like 30 days or so. We'll see how far it goes. I figured like once I don't need to do it anymore, then I'll just know. It's just like, all right, next thing's on. I kind of feel like this is just me filling up some time during my day, but also being constructive about it. Hello, buns.